Hi, Louisville High School students. My name's Anna, and with me is Beth, Sarah, and Chrissy, and we are senior nursing students from Malone University. Today we are coming to talk to you guys and teach you some things about technology and weight and how they can have positive and negative effects. And so we have all sorts of fun activities and things to learn. So to start, we just wanted to play kind of a game. It's more of a discussion activity. It's called Take a Stand. And so once I finish giving instructions, we will play. But first, what Take a Stand is there are 4 pieces of paper on the ground. There's a strongly agree, agree, strongly disagree, and D, which is disagree. Okay, but yes, so there's the 4. And what we're gonna do is I'm going to read off different statements. And with each statement, you are going to go to whichever corner fits you. So, for example, a statement I could say would be, dogs are the best animal. And if you really agree with that, then you would go to strongly agree. If you absolutely hate dogs, you would go to strongly disagree. And once you all get into your corners and you choose your side that you're on, you're going to then discuss why you have this belief or why you think that everyone else should be standing where you're standing. You can try to talk people into switching sides. That's not really the point, but you can try. But people are allowed to have their own opinions. And so we're gonna go ahead and play that now. And so Laura, we would have them all get up and clear space in the room where we could put down the pieces of paper. And I'm gonna be reading off all of the questions, and then Sarah, Chrissy, and Beth are going to be participating in the Take a Stand as well, so that if the students don't talk, that they could kind of help facilitate questions and share their opinions on things. But if the students are participating well, we're not going to say anything, just let them share. But the questions that questions or statements we're going to have them respond to and Take a Stand are that I think technology is good. So we'll let them go to their spots and think about that. The second one is, sorry, I'm trying to read. Hi Laura, I'm sorry. I was trying to read from a whiteboard and my eyes aren't that good, but when we actually teach, I would have a note card reading off the questions. But I wanted to read you the questions or statements. The first one was, I believe that technology is good, and then let them discuss. The second one, my generation is greatly influenced by technology. The third one, I don't think that I spend too much time on social media. And then we have, watching more than 2 hours of television per day will have a negative effect on weight. And then the last one is, I think using fitness apps will help my health. So we'll let them discuss all of those, share what their ideas are, and we estimate that this will take probably 5 to 10 minutes, and that would be our opening activity.
Hey everyone, thanks for participating in Take a Stand. It really means a lot that you contribute your own thoughts and opinions. So now we're going to go ahead and talk about the positive and negative effects of technology on weight. One negative effect that technology has is that it creates unhealthy habits in us. One study found that watching about 2 or more hours per day increases your risk of being overweight or obese.
So one of the overarching concepts with this is the idea of a positive energy balance, which is saying that higher caloric intake than what is used in the body causes a positive energy balance. And the 2 ways that this is caused is, one, by eating more, taking in more than the body requires, or by not using up the energy that is taken in from eating. And so the technology can cause a more sedentary lifestyle, and that increases unhealthy eating habits. So I know for me, the way that this would play out in my life is that if I'm like binge watching Netflix, then I'm sitting there for a while, that causes a sedentary lifestyle. So that doesn't allow me to expend the energy that I'm taking in. And when you're sitting there watching Netflix, typically you're not eating like cucumbers and carrots and healthy things like that. Usually I'm sitting there with like munchies, chips, or like some sort of cookie or something like that. So that's causing me to take in all these calories and then I'm not using them up. And some quotes from the research that we found is that a positive energy balance is the underlies the development of obesity. So statistically, more screen time can contribute to a positive energy balance, either by decreasing energy expenditure, which is what we talked about with the sedentary lifestyle, not using up the energy and being active, as a consequence of increased sedentary behavior, or increasing energy intake as a consequence of snacking and exposure to food advertisements. So that's what we talked about with the unhealthy foods that you're eating when you're sitting there watching Netflix, or the foods that you end up buying because of the advertisements that you see from commercials of unhealthy foods.
Okay, so one of the negative effects that we had talked about was when you stay up watching video games or Netflix, you stay up longer, so you're more encouraged to eat. An example of this is my little brother. Like, he loves video games. He'll be on it for like hours straight, and so he'll eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, and like snack in between those meals, and then like past dinner time when he's staying up till like midnight playing video games, he'll eat ramen noodles, and like they come in like a 12-pack, and he'll like after dinner to like midnight, he'll have like 5 of those. And each one of those are like 300 calories. I mean, times it by 5, and you have 1,500 calories that he's consumed after dinner. So this is just showing that watching, like also when you're staying up later to play video games, sleep affects obesity, and so that just shows how video game addiction or even binge watching Netflix can influence your BMI.
So we just thought this comic was kind of funny and explains well one of the points that we're trying to make. It says, all I do is set the hair dryer on high heat and the pounds just melt away. Weight loss for snowmen. So this has to do with the idea of media and the bad effects that it can have on our weight. 2 ways that media can affect our self-esteem is 1, through peer pressure, and 2, through making it self-conscious about your size. So the first one about peer pressure. One of the main ways that this can happen is through cyberbullying, which is a really common problem with high school and even with college, where we're at right now. So with that, the cyberbullying can make your self-esteem go down, and then a common result of that is that you want to eat more to make yourself feel better. And you just don't feel very good about yourself. You don't feel like being active and going out and doing things. And then the second way is that technology often makes you self-conscious about your size or the amount of muscle that you have. So this can go both ways. Either if you feel like you're too small and then you see people in media who are very toned or very muscular, then you feel negatively about yourself and wish you were more their size. Or if you see somebody in the media just with like a really, really thin waist size, then you wish you were more like them even if you are at a healthy weight. And part of that too is that a healthy weight isn't always just exactly how you look. There's a broad range of body builds and a broad range of healthy weights, and so that kind of goes back to the snowman. With him, it was just really, really easy for him to lose the weight. The pounds just melted off. And you see some people like that where no matter what they eat or what they do, they just always stay the same size. Or people that are really active about making sure that they eat well, making sure that they work out all the time, and just no matter what, it's harder for them to lose the weight. So one of the other things that media affects is the choices that we make. So in a study done in 2012, it was found that screen time exposure can also subject individuals to content that might influence lifestyle behaviors that are also associated with obesity, such as consuming advertised foods or smoking as a result of exposure to smoking messages. So the commercials that we see while we're watching TV can cause us to make bad lifestyle choices. So I know for me, when I'm watching TV, no matter what, when I see a Taco Bell commercial, that like immediately makes me want to go eat Taco Bell. So usually I end up like after watching that commercial going and making like a midnight Taco Bell run, which isn't super healthy because 1, Taco Bell isn't great for you, and 2, I'm eating that late. So those are just some examples of the effect that it can have on our lifestyle.
Okay, so my family is pretty large. There's 8 kids, and then there's my mom and dad. And whenever we were younger, like we spent a lot of time outside. We went 4-wheeling and like doing other things outside. We didn't have cable and we didn't have Wi-Fi, so that's why we spent most of our time outside. And over the years, we were able to convince my mom and dad to get Wi-Fi and cable, so yay. But with that, we spent a lot more time inside the house, and like we're on like our laptops or the TV more. And I can tell like all of us have put on a couple of pounds from that. And then this study is just proving that point that the more time you are spending on your laptop, on your computer games, the more likely you are to have an increased BMI. BMI does stand for body mass index, and it's based on your height and your weight. And there's 18.5 to about 25 is considered a normal BMI. And then if you fall under 18.5, you are underweight, and then above 25 is in the overweight category, and then it goes obese and morbidly obese.
Alright, so now we're going to talk about the positive effects of technology on weight. So before we talked about the negative effects, and I feel like oftentimes that technology gets a bad rep for being bad for our health and bad for our weight. It's like we've grown up with our parents saying, oh, like stop watching TV, go play outside. And I feel like the trick is you just have to learn how to use technology to improve your health and improve your weight. And especially since we're the technology generation, there's so many resources out there for us to use and to utilize. So we're going to explore those right now. So the first thing is mobile apps. So most of us have smartphones, iPhones. There's tons of apps out there that you can buy to help improve your fitness, help you get more active, and lose weight if you want to do that. And okay, so mobile apps, it provides accountability. So there's many apps that if you're not doing anything for so long a time, it'll make an alarm and say, hey, get active and go do something. And there's also plans where you like check off each day. So one thing it does is provides accountability, so you stay to your plan and what your goals are. And it also works best to support another plan, such as like a diet plan or running plan. So they support each other to overall improve your health. So that's that.
So like one example, Sarah was saying that using mobile apps can provide accountability. An example of this is Fitbit. I don't know if any of you have a Fitbit. I do, and I love it. But the really cool thing about Fitbit, yes, it records your fitness and all these great things, but it also has a social aspect to it, which means like if you have friends that also have it, you guys can challenge each other, and it's kind of just a really cool way that technology can be used to then motivate each other to get fit and to get off the couch and start doing active things. And I know with Fitbit you have to buy like the tracker that comes with it, and that of course comes at a cost, and none of us are billionaires. But there's also other really great apps, and this is just one example that we wanted to talk to you guys about in case you didn't already know about Fitbit.
Alright, so another thing mobile apps does is it makes physical activity fun. I'll just read this quote real quick. It says, games have additional proven to be effective as a motivational method. Research on games motivating physical activity targeting children and teens reported impressive results both in the amount of physical activity performed while playing the game and in the perceived enjoyment of the game. So not only does physical fitness apps get you more active, but it's also more fun. Like she was saying, you can challenge your friends, you can get together if you're at someone's house and like go do something fun. So it's just a nice way to make it fun.
And a really great app that just recently came out this past summer is Pokemon Go. I don't know if anyone plays it. I do. But this is a cool app because yes, it is a video game. You're catching Pokemons. But if anyone's playing, you would know that the app requires you to get up and physically move and go places to play. You can't play it by sitting on the couch at home. So it requires you to get up. And I think apps like this are really great for our generation because we are so used to technology. We're used to playing on the computer and playing with video games. That's just how we function. That's how we spend our time. It's how our minds work. So the fact that apps are coming out now that incorporate the way we're kind of wired to like use technology and to help get us more healthy and just a healthier lifestyle, it's a really great thing, and I hope to see more apps come out like Pokemon Go. And even, I mean, you don't have to like Pokemon to play it. I think it's still fun. But I would encourage you guys to use apps like this that are fun and get you off the couch, and it's just a really good pastime, I guess, if you have free time. So we talked about Pokemon Go, which is kind of like on your phone, which yes, it is active, but what we mean by active video games is more like actually like moving your body and getting around. So the example that we wanted to talk about with this was Wii Fit. And there's plenty of games like this, but if anyone's played Wii Fit, it is a video game. You're looking at a screen, you're playing, but you're like physically moving to play whatever game it is, if it's a dancing game or a scavenger hunt type of thing. So the research that we found on this is that the promotion of active video games, which would be like electronic video games that allow players to physically interact with images on the screen and a variety of activities such as sports and other activities, this is a more successful way for us, our generation, to get fit. So it's an approach that makes more sense for us to take rather than, I mean, some people still like going to the gym every day, and that's good too, obviously. I'm not saying like physical activity is bad, but like if you really struggle and like finding that motivation to go to the gym and you really like video games, like there is a middle ground that you can find to help with your health.
Alright, so there's also exercise programs and videos that you can get for those also that if you don't like to go to the gym, you can buy these. Sometimes they're expensive, sometimes they're not and really affordable, and you just plug them into your computer, your laptop, your DVD player, and it'll play a program for you. So some examples are just like P90X, Insanity, Zumba, there's also like Pilates, and so these are also very good examples. Some of them are very challenging, so they have like all ranges of physical ability. Some ranging from not very much, or if you actually just want to get into it and sweat, there's all those other.
And another thing, so like these do cost money, but type them in on YouTube and you guys can probably find them for free, and then you're able to do a workout in your living room and not pay any money at all, which is really great. And so we just showed you guys all these like great video things, and we're like, here, do this, and like it'll fix everything. But we just wanted to remind you guys of some things to keep in mind if you're gonna start implementing these things into your daily life in hopes of improving your health. Something just to keep in mind that forming a healthy habit with anything, whether it be diet or exercise, a habit takes time to form, and like research says that it usually takes like up to 66 days. So that's like 66 days of being very diligent and like making yourself do it even though you might not want to. But I just wanted to encourage you guys that like it is possible, it might just take some time, but you can get there. And then we wanted to remind you guys to remember that changes in other habits or lifestyle choices can also influence weight. So it's not all about like trying to incorporate technology into your lifestyle, but I mean, we all know like diet and just regular exercise and getting enough sleep. There's a lot of different things that incorporate into your weight. So just remember that it's a multi-step process. You can't just fix one thing and expect everything to be great. And then the last thing we wanted to remind you guys of is that remember that a healthy weight does not revolve around a certain number on the scale. I feel like people around our age, like we just get caught up in the number on the scale. And we had mentioned earlier in the presentation that like every body is different, and what one body looks like and what one body's weight on the scale is could be totally healthy and looks so different than somebody else. So it's just really important to remember that like your body, I mean this is cheesy, but like it's beautiful the way it is, and like whatever the number says on the scale, like if you're doing your best and like you have healthy habits and you have healthy eating styles and you're doing everything that you can, don't get caught up on the number. I don't know, I just want to stress that for you guys. Yeah.
Alright, so what do you think? So now we're going to break into small discussion groups and ask a couple questions, and you guys will discuss them in your small groups, and then we will come together as a whole and discuss them collectively. So at this time we would break them all up into like groups of 4 or however many, and allow time to ask questions, or we would ask them questions, they would discuss it for a few minutes, and then we would all come together and someone from the spokesperson would just talk out loud and discuss what their group found and compare like each other's groups and answers into that. So the questions you were going to ask is, what types of food commercials do you usually see and how do they affect you? And the second question is, what are your current good and bad technology habits? And the third one is, if you had to re-explain this topic to someone who wasn't in the classroom today, how would you explain it to them? What are the big things you would want to make sure that they knew? So, and then this will probably take like 10 more minutes to discuss it.
And while they're discussing, the four of us will be walking around to each group just to make sure that they're staying on topic, or kind of helping trigger any, like if they're not talking at all.
Or brainstorm.
Yeah, helping them
facilitate.
brainstorm.
So, then we would just close, say thank you all for listening, and have a great rest of the day.
And that's our presentation.
Thanks.